I'm not going to stand here and talk to you about our fortunes coming up in 2015 on the field. A couple of reasons for that. Firstly, a shot hasn't been fired in anger yet, and therefore anything I say would be pure speculation. But secondly, we have a very intelligent and eloquent senior coach in Brad Scott, and I've always been of the belief that he should speak for our football team, and I'm sure he will and continue to. So I won't go down that path. I can say this, however, in a while you're going to hear from Carl, and he's going to talk, as I say, to the health of the business, but off-field things are looking very good for 2015. We are a football club, as I'm sure you're all aware, that's made a profit 7 of the last 8 years. And when you think about where the world's economy's been at since 2008, to make a profit 7 of those 8 years, to have paid down as much debt as we have, this club had an inherited debt, certainly when I became involved, of about $8.5 million one way or another. It's sitting in the 1 point millions at the moment, and we hope to get it down under $1 million very, very quickly. So to have done that and to have made a profit 7 of the last 8 years is a staggeringly good result. We're coming off a year, of course, again, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but coming off a year where we made a prelim final, made a very good profit, a record membership, and paid down significant debt. So I think you can all agree with me that we are a very, very well-run football club. And I'm not talking about that from a board point of view, I'm talking about that from our managing director. We've got amazing staff sitting at the front of the office of the room here. I just want to congratulate them publicly for an astoundingly well-done job, because in times where it's tough for AFL footy clubs to even make a profit, I think it was only 7 or 8 this year that did, or last year, to not only be making a profit, but to be wiping debt out and to be growing the way we are, just shows you, I think, that we've got really, really capable people running our footy club, and we're very proud of them. All right, I'm going to turn to the business of the meeting, and as I say, excuse the formality. In accordance with Rule 10.1I of the club constitution, at every AGM, 1/3 of the members of the board, or if their number is not an integral multiple of 3, the number nearest to 1/3 shall retire and be eligible for re-election. The members so retiring shall be the longest in office, and in the case of equal seniority, the order of such retirement shall be in default of agreement by determined lot, which we didn't have to do this year. As such, Managing Director Carl Delena and Julie Laycock must retire at the 2014 AGM, which they're doing. Each of Carl Delena and Julie Laycock, being eligible, have offered themselves for re-election as directors. And in accordance with Rule 10.1CI of the club's constitution, nominations were sought for the 2 director positions, which had become vacant on the day of the AGM. The request for nominations was published in the Herald Sun newspaper. That was on the 20th of January, and via the club website at nmfc.com.au. In response, complying nominations were received in respect of current board members Carl Delena and Julie Laycock, pursuant to Rule 10.1DII of the club constitution. If the number of candidates does not exceed the number of vacancies on the board to be filled, the relevant election, then those candidates can be deemed to have been duly elected and will be declared duly elected without the need for an election to occur. Accordingly, what that basically means is no one ran against either Carl or Julie, if you're wondering. So accordingly, each of Carl and Julie are duly re-elected to the board of the club, and no director elections will occur as part of this general meeting. So that is great news for Carl and Julie. Well done.
The gate receipts took a bit of a hit in the 2014 season. It's a bit of a two-pronged question. Do you attribute that to the AFL stance on the ticketing policy? And secondly, do you think those gate receipts will improve in this coming year?
You're talking attendance or receipts?
Well, yeah, gate receipts, I suppose. Given we've had a strong on-field performance, do you expect them to increase?
Certainly, I think attendance will, because it's a much friendlier environment. The AFL have declared this as the year of the fan, and ticketing's going to be cheaper. And I think the draw is already much more user-friendly than last year, when there were lots of strange starting times and all the rest of it. So yeah, I think so. Whether that affects positively our ability to make money out of it depends on what type of ticket you're selling and how many of our members turn up. I mean, one of the oxymorons, if you like, of our setup, as Carl's shown you with that graph, is we're at an all-time high at 40,000 plus members. But the problem is, if we get 44,000 to watch us play Richmond at Etihad and 40,000 of them are our members, then we get almost nothing out of the game. because people go in for nothing. So a lot of the gate receipts depends on who comes and how much they pay and if they're the opposition fans and where they sit and all that sort of thing. But look, a bit of what you're saying and the gentleman before about AFL distributions, Carl's too polite and diplomatic to say it this way, whereas I'm not. The amount of money we receive from the AFL is almost 100% correlates to the amount we don't get out of playing at Etihad, basically. I mean, we have the worst stadium deal in the history of world sport, nearly. So therefore, the AFL recognise that, and they give us basically a compensation amount of money for the fact that we are forced to play games there and don't make any money. So, you know, it annoys me when I hear commentary around these clubs that are propped up by the AFL and wouldn't be profitable and wouldn't exist if, you know, they weren't propped up by the AFL. It's actually nothing to do with that. It's the fact that because we play at a place where, was it 2011, or I think it was when we last played all our home games at Etihad, and, you know, we had a pretty good attendance here, I think, in 2011. We made $611,000 net. So David Koch is complaining about their new deal at Adelaide Oval where they're getting $4.5 million. You know, we played 11 games and made 600 grand. So that's why the AFL gives us money. It's really as simple as that. And hopefully the AFL soon will buy Etihad, and then we'll get a proper stadium deal and we won't need to be propped up with a compensation check. Everything else in our business is flying from an off-field money point of view. So yeah, I know you all do, and I do. You get really annoyed with this commentary about, you know, AFL propping, you know, clubs up. It's really saying we know your stadium deal's no good, so we'll compensate you for it, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, to what you say, I'd be very surprised if we didn't get more people coming through the gate this year. Whether that translates into money really depends on what type of person, where they sit. Yeah.